Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mike Kollin at MikeKollin.com. Okay, so let's have a little bit of fun today. We're going to shift this up a little bit, but it really does still apply to everything I've been teaching you guys. So let's get into it. Alright, so today we're going to talk about trance or hypnosis. A lot of you have no idea what hypnosis is or what it is or what's another means. That's the other word I'm looking for. So it's not quite what a lot of people think it is. In fact, it's a lot different. Alright, so one of the things that we learned, and once you see it, you go, oh, no kidding. All of us are in a trance, period. At all times. Very, very few humans on the planet ever come out of trance. And now, if you truly came out of trance, you would be in what's called consciousness. And that really is the goal. Very few people take any steps to even attempt to go in that direction. And one of the main things is there are a series of techniques that I teach in the internal awareness course that will help you to become more conscious, okay? But consciousness is full consciousness. Now, I had meditated for 12 years without missing a day. Every day, no matter what, a minimum for an hour in the morning and another hour or 2 hours in the evening. And then I went on this journey where I got longer and longer, especially on the weekends. It was 10 hours, 12 hours and longer. And then there was 2 weeks where I meditated every day. I think it was 16 to 18 hours every single day. So essentially I meditated and I went to sleep. And I was also fasting. I didn't eat a single thing during these 2 weeks. And what it caused was a spiritual awakening where I was conscious for 6 months. It was the most mind-blowing experience that I've ever had in my life. So now essentially what I do, I'll meditate for about an hour a day. And during the day, I will do different techniques to bring myself back to consciousness. So in other words, it's not like I'm there 24/7 like I was during that period of time. So accessing consciousness is a challenge. So what I'm also going to add to you in this video is I'm going to teach you a very, very, very simple technique that is unbelievably simple, yet it's what causes trance.
Everything is beautiful.
And when I understood that one concept, I was like, because when I was studying hypnosis, I was like, I don't get it. For a while, I just thought, oh, people are just faking and acting like they're going into a trance. Like, I didn't get it at first, and yet I'd studied it for quite a while. And I'd been certified at another place, American Institute of Hypnotherapy. It was a 4-day training. That was like the first one I ever took and the shortest course I ever took. Other than that, the courses became like 7-day, 10-day, 2-week, 3-week, 5-week, etc. So even during a really long training, I was just kind of like, okay, yeah, whatever, do this, do that. And even when I did this technique in front of the whole classroom, when I put this guy in a trance, and it was really cool, I didn't really think I did it. Because I didn't understand what I was doing. I didn't understand. And I even told the guy, look, man, you don't have to be fake. It's okay. And Dr. Tetching goes, Michael, he's in a complete trance. I'm like, oh, okay. So here's the problem. I didn't understand what a trance was. And yet, once I understood what it was, like, oh, I've been in trances my whole life, like daily. So the left brain is very much a trance brain. It's like you are on a program. That's the mechanical brain. And that's why I do everything I can to get you out of that. And you ladies, you take advantage of this, and you do with your husbands and your boyfriends. Dr. Bob Bays, he was the head psychologist at Syracuse University. He had trained with Tony Robbins for years, and then he became an assistant trainer. And I took one of it was a 3-day course. I think they called it Skills of Power. 3 days or 4 days. It was in San Francisco. And when we were really starting to understand, anchoring and influence and all that stuff, he had said about the end of the second day, he goes, every woman that raises a child to the age of 5 years old deserves a master's degree in psychology. Because it's all about influence. Like, how can I get this baby to do what I want? It keeps trying to go, crawl out into the street, or, or it's dangerous, or it keeps getting dirty, or it keeps, whatever. And so it's a constant battle of, okay, well, like, how do I make this baby not do that, or get it to do this instead? So you have to master the art of influence, and the right brain is the hypnosis language brain. And women, guys, if you don't know this, women use this to their advantage because they can see that you're looking down this narrow view and you're easily manipulated. And it's like, how did this one, it was a very young lady, I think she was in college. I said, you know how men, like, they can only see what's right in front of them, they're very direct, and the girl goes, oh, you mean like a racehorse with blinders on? I go, yes. She goes, oh yeah, that's why we can manipulate men. Now, when men get older in their 50s, they finally start catching on. And I mean, literally, the average man, that is literally how long it takes for them to finally go, oh, wait a minute. Now, here's the deal, guys. When you learn how to be emotionally grounded, conscious, and aware, it is a huge attraction for women. I'm going to even use the word turn on. Women are very attracted to men who they can't bamboozle, pull the wool over your eyes, etc. Because it's kind of a test. They want to see, if I can manipulate you, well, that must mean that the bigger men and the smarter men in the business world or the work world, that means, you can't survive out there. They're going to manipulate you all day long. So this is why women do these things. And a lot of times it's a very unconscious process or program that's in their mind. Women will test you even after you've been married for 10 years. They want to make sure you're awake. Are you paying attention? Are you conscious and aware of your surroundings, etc., etc.? So, whatever you talk about, whatever you focus on, is trance. When you read a book, okay, this is a good example. Okay. So you know how when you really want to read a book and then you sit down, you open up and you start to read, but for the first 5, maybe 7 minutes, it's kind of like, I don't really want to be here. It's not enjoyable. But then if you can get past about 5, 7, 8 minutes, all of a sudden, boom, you sink into the book, and about 45 minutes to an hour flies by, and you kind of stop and you look like, wow, that went by fast. That's a trance. Now here's when I really started to understand hypnosis. It was when, I forgot what the doctor had tattooed, who was teaching us, so I don't remember what he said. But I remember I raised my hand, I go, wait a minute. So hypnosis or trance is the same thing as being focused or state of mind. And there was another word I used like that, I can't remember it right now. And he looked at me, he goes, yes. So then I said, because I realized, I go, so whenever I compete in sports, what I'm doing when I'm stretching and warming up and jumping up and down, and and I have this whole routine, I go, that routine, if I would complete it, would get me into a certain state of mind to perform really, really well. And he goes, yes, that's exactly what hypnosis is. See, hypnosis or trance is the same thing as state of mind. If you're playing at a top level in any kind of sport, you've got to be in, oh yeah, this was the other word. You've got to be in the zone. Well, what is zone? It is a deep, deep trance. So all of these words, zone, state of mind, focused, fired up, whatever, being in the zone, being, being focused, and trance are all interchangeable. They mean the same exact thing. Now there's two, I'm not going to limit it, but there's 2 different kinds of trances. There's one we call uptime. It's Tony Robbins, where you get fired up, you're focused, you're in the zone, you clap your hands a lot and say, yo, yes, sit down in a peak state. It's when you get fired up. It's when you're like getting ready for a football game or a baseball game or something that's really intense, it's fast, it's focused. That's called an uptime trance. A downtime trance is when you're like sleep all the way down, step 1, step 2, all that stuff. Now the reason I'm kind of talking that way is because I don't really like that kind of a trance. It's kind of boring, at least to me. So one of the things I realized, and I think Dr. Chad James had mentioned this, he had said, what you have to understand is most people can't focus to save their life. They are ping-ponging all over the place. They get distracted easily. They can't stay, on the task on hand. They can't stay on it. He goes, and that's the problem with most people. They've never developed this, what's another word for it? Discipline or focused state of mind, or, whatever. A lot of the people now that say they have ADHD, now that is really ramped up to where it was like 1% of society or 3% had it back in the 80s. And now it's like everybody has it, and doctors want to throw pills all over the place. Well, you know what it really is? These people did not grow up having to, what's the word I'm looking for? To focus the way we did a long time ago. Now it's like everything is entertaining. They've got music, they've got videos, they've got computers. It's like they're all over the place. All it means is they haven't built up and developed that level of focus where they can focus on something deeply. Now, another thing is when you begin to develop, like, let's say you discipline yourself to really stay focused on, I don't care what it is, farming, artwork, music, whatever, but you really dedicate yourself, right? You begin to develop chemicals in your brain and in your body, and instead of it being a muscle, it's chemicals that are built up at a high level. So now when you go into that state of mind, you can go deeper than other people. That's why when you first develop, like, okay, I'm going to start a habit to read again. In the beginning, it's going to be hard because you don't have a lot of those chemicals in there. It doesn't have it's like your gas tank is low. So it's the same thing if you want to meditate. For the first probably month or 2 months, it's going to be kind of hard to do it more than 20 or 30 minutes. But once you get past 2 or 3 months, all of a sudden meditating for an hour, it becomes easy. Now here's the funny thing that I realized this when I was starting to put ads out in the local paper, is we don't actually put people in a trance. What we're doing is we're taking them out of a trance. In fact, what have I been doing with you guys for the last 4 years? A lot of you have been hypnotized, put into a trance by these narcissists. So narcissists will be putting you into a trance because it puts you in what I call a stuck state. So what I've been doing through my videos of the last 4 years is unraveling the lies, the tricks, the manipulations that narcissists have been putting you through so you can become emotionally free, mentally, emotionally, and physically, spiritually, energetically free. So I realized this was back in probably I think it was 1997 when I placed my first, ad in a local paper. Something, it was a big deal to me. I went and got my business license, and I was going to put my first ad out. And so I hesitate because I'm like, well, it shouldn't say hypnosis. It should say unhypnosis or dehypnosis, because you're taking people out and making them aware. And that's the other thing. When you learn how to go into what I guess I'm going to call it a trance, can't find a better word for it, is you become very conscious of everything. So in other words, we take you out that little part of your brain in the forehead, that little tiny part, and we open the door, and now you're conscious of everything. Your awareness becomes greater, not less. One of the very typical experiences people have when working with me, even if it's just a conversation, is they will experience a greater expanded awareness, almost as if their energy is expanded out, and they're much more aware of their surroundings, of themselves, of their thoughts, etc., etc. Now, one of the reasons being is because I'm unconsciously using the right brain language, which is the internal language, and the more I speak that, the more your brain will go, see, okay, the way our bodies are designed, there's a system in our brain that gains rapport. So if someone's in the left brain, it would be really good for you to shift over to your left brain because you're using the same processor, and now you can understand each other. But if someone's in the right brain, your brain eventually over time, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, will switch over and begin using the same processor. So you're using the same matching processors and using the same internal language. And this increases understanding. Okay, so let's just get to the good stuff. So one of the things that I'm constantly doing is I'm constantly working on being emotionally grounded, internal, right brain, etc. I stretch, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. I do deep breathing. I shake my body out. In the morning, I might do like an actual 30, 40-minute meditation and deep breathing technique. And there's other techniques internal awareness techniques that I'll do. So I'm constantly kind of tuning back in with myself because it really feels good to just be open and relaxed. So one day, I don't know if it was 2 years, 3 years into the trainings, I became very aware that every word that you use is creating emotions in someone. Okay, I remember how I realized this. So I'd heard it before, kind of went over my head, didn't understand it because I had to have the experiences myself over and over to go, oh, I see what's going on here. Kind of connect the dots over time. So here's one of the biggest learnings that switched everything, and then I'm going to get to the technique. Is words. Okay, I'm gonna do it to you first. Hold on. Okay, I'm just gonna do it. All right, so I'm gonna ask you a question. How do you remember anything? Anything at all? So when someone says ball, tree, house, car, someone's name, Amber, I don't know, Steve, man, female, like, how do you know what those words mean? So you might say, oh, well, we remember them. We learn what they mean, the definition or meaning, and we remember it. In other words, how do you remember what anything means? Like, how does your brain know what the word red means? How does it understand that? In other words, how does it remember stuff? So the next thing I'll say to my clients is well, do you have like a hard disk floppy, hard drive in your body somewhere? Do you have like copper wires or electrical wires running through your brain or through your body? Do you have like a memory card somewhere? Like, how does it remember anything? Do you want to know how? Every word that you have memorized is biochemically encoded. Chemicals. Every word has a code of chemicals. In other words, a series of chemicals that let you know, like, okay, this is red and red means this. Okay? This is orange, this is blue, this is pink, this is hot, this is cold, this is Frank, this is Steve. So every word has a series of chemicals. Now this is really important to understand. I'm going to give you the technique after this, but this is super important to understand. In other words, here's what happens. Every time someone says a word, every time you hear a word, every time you say a word, every time you think a word, a sentence, every word releases a series of chemicals into your bloodstream, into your brain, into your body. Now I'm going to tell you a secret. Words can make you sick or they can make you healthy. And I don't even want to say it that way. You are releasing chemicals into your body. And this is what's making you feel good or feel bad. Now you all know that I have suffered from tremendous anxiety. And the one thing that really moved the marker for me, that finally started me moving in the direction of getting over this, was one little thing that I did out of absolute desperation 30 plus years ago. I forget how long ago it was. And this can help you too. So I used to sweat when I'd go to sleep at night. I used to have to lay down 2 or 3 towels underneath me before I'd go to bed because I for years I would sweat. I could literally lose 3 to 4 to 5 pounds just from sweating at night. That's how bad of anxiety that I used to have. So one night I was really going through it. I had a really bad, I was going through bad anxiety, panic attack, call it whatever you want. And I remember that scientist, I can't remember his name, a Japanese scientist. And what he did was he would get some water and then he would write a word on a piece of tape, and then he would tape that to each glass of water or each bottle of water. One would be love, one would be like peace, and then the other one was like anger, next one would be frustration, and I think the last one was hate. Now I remember during an NLP training they brought this up and said, hey, here's what he found. When he pulled up the one love and put the droplet of water, so I figured he'd leave it there for 72 hours or whatever, however certain length of time, and then he would take it and put a droplet under 2 slides, and he put that under a microscope, and it would be this beautiful pattern, this crystallized beautiful pattern. And then the other one was peace, and that one was beautiful, and then the next one was like, let's say, anger, right? And that was all corroded and ugly in the form. Instead of it being this beautiful crystallization, it was kind of broke. Not kind of, it was broken, and it was ugly. It was nasty. Same thing with the frustration, and especially the one hate. So I believed what they said, but I didn't really understand how to apply it. Okay, like, well, what do we do with this? We put pieces of tape on glass and write a word on it. So all it was showing was that your words and your thoughts literally create energy and emotions in you, positive or negative. Now, when I put that together with words release chemicals into your bloodstream, into your brain, every time you think them or use them or imagine them. So here I am, I'm having a bad time, panic attack, sweating, can't sleep. And I just, out of desperation, I thought, I got to do something. And I remember these 2 thoughts, biochemical. This doctor did this test, beautiful crystals, not beautiful crystals. I thought, oh, God, I'll just give it a try. And I thought, I'll just say 2 words. And the 2 words were this: love and peace. Now, one of the things we're taught is that, well, it's the way you say it. You got to say it smooth. You can't say love, 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 peace, peace, because that's kind of intense. It's not the energy. And here's the problem in there. So you got to say like love, peace, right? Oh, here's the problem. I had such a bad panic attack. I remember trying like love, peace. It was really bad. And I just said, oh, I've got nothing to lose. So I kept saying it over and over. And I mean, I fell asleep and I woke up the next morning and I was like, man, I feel great. Like I slept so good. And I thought, just a coincidence. I felt pretty good most of the day, and sure enough, later on that night, I started having panic attacks again, and it was really, really bad. And I thought, I'm going to try that again. Maybe it did help, because I didn't actually believe that it did. I thought it was just coincidence. So I was going, love, peace. And as I went along, it became more love, peace. Now, this went on for, I don't remember if it was 10 minutes or 15 minutes, but I remember about the 7 to 10 minute mark or maybe 12-minute mark, I actually started to feel pretty good. My body was relaxing. And I kind of kept saying, I want to keep it, but I'm too tired. And boom, I went to sleep. I was out. So I woke up the next morning really feeling rested. I got another 8 hours of sleep, and I thought, wow, this is amazing. Not only did I sleep deep, but my body felt really good. It was so peaceful, just felt nice instead of being uptight and stressed. And I thought, wow. So then I combined it with hypnosis, and I remember them telling us, every word you use affects you emotionally and mentally. It puts you in that state of mind or that trance. So I started realizing when I was teaching men how to communicate to women, how to meet women, how to talk to women, a lot of guys, and I used to do this when I was younger, I'd go on a date with a girl for the first time and I would say, well, you're not afraid of me, are you? And I would say, I'm not going to do nothing. I just want you to know I'm a good person. I don't do bad things. And so I remember this girl looked at me like, oh, okay. So as I got older and I was learning hypnosis, like, oh God, I was putting them in that state of mind because I'm saying words like fear, don't be afraid, and all kinds of stuff like that. And then when I started coaching guys, I caught this one guy. He had met a girl and started talking to her. And he goes, hey, I just want to let you know I'm not a bad person. I'm not going to do anything bad to you or anything like that. I don't want you to think that. Like, well, the minute you say it, boom, in order for her to understand the sentence, they have to think it. And so that's when I kind of started going, okay, so if that's not good, so what do you do? Well, think of positive states of mind, something that's going to make her feel good. So use words like comfort and warm, comfortable, relaxed. Like, isn't it a beautiful evening, nice, warm, and relaxing and calm? Because see right there, that little bit that I just did, you guys started feeling better, didn't you? Just a little bit. So if you go back before that, I was using kind of a lot of negative words for about 2 minutes there, and you're kind of like, I don't want to be in this video no more. That is how powerful words affect you. Like, literally, you can use 3 words and already someone's kind of like, yeah, I'm not feeling it no more. So essentially, here's what I learned. There's a couple things that you can do, but the first one I want to say is this, and this is really what this video is leading up to, is words are emotions. They literally are feelings. Now, I began to realize you need to start using words that make you feel good. So for me, I didn't necessarily go, oh, I'm going to use a bunch of words to make other people feel good. It's like, no, it's like because I had so much stress, I wanted to feel better. So I noticed there was a series of words that made me feel comfortable and relaxed and smooth and warm and comforting, and it just felt good. And so I started using them a lot, and I started to feel better. But then I noticed the people that were interacting with me, they started to feel better too. And I was like, oh, okay, it's kind of like a double bonus. So another thing I began to notice is that there's a right brain language and a left brain language. And the left brain language is always very serious, focused, in the box, kind of tight. And it would tighten up my muscles because when you're in your left brain, it literally does tighten up your muscles and it makes you more mechanical. So I started to notice that using these right brain words would, okay, I'm always looking for like, what's the word I'm looking for? I want to say like a cheat code, but it's really not a cheat code because it was so hard. Like, well, how do I get into the state of mind? How do I do this? It's like, so I started realizing if I just started using right brain languaging, right brain words, unconsciously, I'd switch over to the right brain and I felt great. And I'd have these wonderful conversations with people. It's mentally stimulating, emotionally fulfilling, meaningful conversations, things that were richer, more in depth, etc., etc. Now listen to all the words I just used. Mentally stimulating, emotionally fulfilling, meaningful conversations, etc., right? So I began to use these words to make me feel good and to open up to my right brain. So if you notice on this image here, the left is left brain words such as, what is that? Decision, logic, accurate, analytical, reason, science, control, strategic, practical. I mean, they just feels computer mechanical, right? And guys, if you want a woman to be attracted to you, use the right brain words because that's where her mating system is connected to. So, like, I am is a very right brain thing. Being associated is a very right brain thing. That's one thing. This is what stimulated this video. I was reading something that was talking about being associated emotionally, associated physically, and I thought, wow, that's another word I'm going to add to my repertoire, so I myself can become more associated and feel better, feel connected. And again, the right brain is the associated brain. The left brain is the dissociated brain. So let's kind of pick out some more words. We have freedom, we have love, I can't see in the small purple above love what that is. So let's go below. We've got passion, we've got vivid, we got creative, yearning, peace. Now all these words like peace, creative, passion, vivid, they feel good. They stimulate your mind, they make your body feel good. All right, now let's give a little contrast to this. So one thing I noticed, This was just before the whole Narcissist video started popping up on YouTube about 4 or 5 years ago, and it became all the rage. This was probably about 7 or 8 years ago. I was with someone who I thought was a friend, and we were out by this kind of part of town where if you go just about a half mile up, it's kind of like where the gangsters are and stuff. But it's, I live in a very safe city. It's really kind of a small thing, and they've really calmed it down now. So we were probably about a half mile, 3/4 of a mile down south of it. And out of nowhere, he's like, and it was nighttime too. He goes, "Are you scared?" And I'm like, no. And the funny thing is, there's something about, I looked at him, and I remember the teaching I teach men, like, don't say stuff like that to women. They'll freak them out. Talk about how beautiful and comfortable things are, how the air is fresh and crisp and relaxing, blah, blah, blah. And the minute he said that, something in my body was like, okay, something's not right here. Like, why would he say that? Like, I've never had a dude go, "Hey man, are you scared?" out of nowhere for no reason at all. So my teaching about teaching men of like, hey, pick, more positive topics, with words that make people feel better, came up. And I'm looking at this guy, and he took my course, by the way. And I'm looking at this guy like, nope, not at all. Why would I be scared? He goes, "Well, I mean, we're close to this area, blah, blah, blah." I'm like, "No, not scared at all." He goes, "Are you sure?" And he kept digging down. I go, "Dude, what is your deal? Are you trying to make me scared?" Because I realized he was doing that on purpose. And he kind of got real quiet, like, "Oh shit, I got caught." Like, "Oh shit, yeah, you did." So then a couple years later, maybe 3 or 4, something like that, I don't remember exactly. That's when I met that narcissist. It was about 5 years ago. And he pulled the same thing on me. And I looked at him like, oh, the jig. Like, I knew the jig was up. And but I bit my tongue. I didn't say anything. And I just kind of let him dig himself dig himself a deep ditch. So for me, it clued me in really soon, because he started doing this not too long after, because he took he took the course, I don't want to go too in depth in this. So he started doing this, and this really clued me in. And I'm like looking like, okay, what is the deal? Why do these guys do this? So I really was paying attention to the stuff he was talking about, and it was always about fear or scary. And I was like, oh, this guy's trying to put me into fear states. Now, it wasn't just at one time. It was constant. It became a little more often during the day. And then I was like, what? And one day I called, I go, "What is your effing deal?" And I just called him on it. Oh, no. And of course, he went through the whole denial thing. So that's one of the flags that you can pay attention to is, see, narcissists are just using words to put you in a certain state of mind, a certain trance. So here's the overall lesson. I wouldn't just leave it at narcissists. There are people, there's someone I'm thinking about right now who's constantly saying, "Oh, they'll never do nothing. It'll never get done. It'll never happen." And I remember I wanted this. Now, he doesn't know anything about the languaging and the stuff that I do. And I noticed over a period of time, like, oh, he's always saying that. And I noticed it started pulling me into that trance. Now, I'm a can-do guy. I always believe take action, get things done, make things happen, make the phone call, send the email, do this, you've got to just keep going at it. And well, what happened was because he kept saying this so much, it started to wear off on me, and I thought, oh, that's what it is, and I kind of figured it out. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a narcissist. It could be just someone who has a negative mindset or a stuck mindset, and just start paying attention to what they say. Like, if they're saying things like, "Oh, I can't do that. That's not possible." And that's one thing if they say it one time a week or something, like literally like once or twice. But it's another thing when every time they come across a challenge, every time they come across something they want to do or need to get done, oh, it's never going to happen. Nobody's going to care. Nobody's going to do nothing. They're not going to return the call. They're not going to. That's when you're like, yeah, I need to distance myself from this person, because here's the problem. If they say it once or twice, man, no big deal. But if they continue to say it, the words, the chemicals will begin to sink into you, and you start going into that. See, it's like a physical, emotional state of mind that you go into. So you start going to that negative state of mind. And the reason why I say physical, emotional is because it is biochemical, chemicals being released into your bloodstream, and you begin to feel it. And you take on the same mindset. Now remember what grandma said when you were a little kid? Be careful who you hang around because they'll rub off on you. Turns out, grandma was right. Be around the people that you most want to be like. So if you want to be a professional fighter who wins, be around professional fighters who win. Train with them, eat with them, work with them, go for runs with them, be with them, because their energy, their mentality, the chemicals that are released into the bloodstream will be released into you, because they're going to be using certain words and languaging and a mindset that will rub off on you, literally. So let's say, okay, there was a period of my time, actually a couple periods in my time, where I was literally living in a household where everybody was super negative. Here I was going to Tony Robbins seminars, doing this, doing that, and coming home just all jacked up and not just jacked up, but just in a really good mood and getting things done. A very positive. No, it wasn't just a positive mindset. It was a flow state, and man, did they hate it. So here's what I did. I would read books from people who I wanted to be like, or people that would put me in a better state of mind. Tony Robbins was one of them. Think and Grow Rich was another book. Personal development books. And whenever I read these books, I felt really good. Another thing I did in my room, up on the door, I went and bought this wide roll of paper where I'd roll it down, I'd tape it to the whole length of the door, and I would post things like, if it's meant to be, it's up to me. 110% commitment, make it happen, find a way, you can do it. And then I put it up on the wall behind my bed, and then a wall on the side, and I had all these positive things, so no matter where I looked, positive words and energy were going into me. And it actually worked. So if you can't be around them, read their books, buy books that will put you in positive states, that teach you stuff, that educate you, that move you forward, because it literally will rub off on you. So I would read anytime I was in a bad mood, anytime I needed to be in a good space, a good mind space, emotional space. All it's doing is it's releasing chemicals into your bloodstream. Choose the chemicals that you want to be released into your brain and into your bloodstream. Because not only does it create an emotional feeling, it creates a mindset. The question is, what mindset and what emotions do you want to feel? So what I do is I have a couple Cosmopolitan magazines. Yep, the women's magazines. And I will pull it out and I'll show these guys the ads, okay? So right when I open the first page, there's it's a Estee Lauder, okay? It's like some kind of spray. Now listen to the words. Underneath the skin you see is the skin you want. Have it now. This is hypnosis. I'm telling you guys. No lasers necessary. Now listen to the words. New idealist. Now this is approaching or trying to market to a very specific woman. It's a woman who's beautiful but also is really into her intellect or intelligence. So use words like pore minimizing skin refinisher, laser resurfacing. May not be for everyone. New Idealist is now reinvented to deliver our most dramatic skin resurfacing benefits faster and more efficiently than ever before. Now let's go on the back. It's an image of the singer Rihanna. Okay, this is a CoverGirl ad on the very back page. It says now she's in like a tank top or like a string kind of bikini thing, kind of a soft pastel red cherry-like lipsticks. She's got this smile. She's got a strawberry right to her lips. And here's what it says. These are, it says spritz splash, introducing wet slicks, fruit spritzers, squeeze on a burst of fruity shine without all that sticky. Well, if you're a female, you may notice this is kind of tantalizing and a bit sexual. Okay, it says get a splash of sheer, shiny color and a burst of juicy fruit flavor without all the sticky feeling, and 12 refreshing fruit flavors. So just like papaya splash and strawberry splash. It's not papaya, it's papaya splash. So describe, describe, describe. So these words create emotions and feelings in people and images. Now I know ladies, you understood what that was about, whereas men are like, what are you talking about? So words are biochemically encoded, and when you use a series of words, they put you in a better state of mind and or a better trance. So pick your words wisely and you'll create a better life. And pay attention to the words that people use around you. Okay, real quick, here's some wine that I have. It's not red wine, it's essential red wine. And then it goes on to say, rich, ripe, luscious, and juicy, combining expressive Petit Syrah, Terrell-Dago, Zinfandel, and Syrah creates a delicious wine you'll find truly essential. Hey guys, buy my book Crack the Female Code to get started on this journey of understanding what this means to a woman. I think you'll be surprised. Alright guys, that's it for this video. God bless you guys. I hope you liked this video. I know it was a little different. I kind of wanted to try something different, but I hope you liked it. That's it. If you liked this video, please click subscribe, click the like button, go ahead and make a comment. And remember, there's a PayPal link right there in the description box if you want to go ahead and make a donation. Alright guys, we'll see you in the next video. Bye.